Hi, today we're going to be talking about adding integers, and hopefully you remember some of it from 6th grade. And I'm going to go ahead and get the ink pen, and then let me change the color on that. Let's see, let's try the green. So there's a couple of different things you can do to use to help you with adding integers. This first way I'll show you is the number line. I usually like to think of terms of money or food, just something to help, whatever works for you. So here is the first problem that we'll look at. So I have a -5, so that would be like I have $5 of debt, and then I'm gonna get $8 from the chores that I make. So what we do on the number line, the way we would show that is we always start at 0, we go to -5. But then I get $8 from my chores. So I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go back 8. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. Wherever I stop is going to be my solution. So -5 plus 8 is +3. The next problem would be, let me go ahead and erase this. The next problem is -2 plus -3. So this would be like I'm $2 in debt, and then I'm going to get another $3 in debt. Maybe I'm borrowing money to go to the store to get some snacks, because we all like snacks. So here we go, -2. So I go -2, 1, 2, I stop. I'm going to go ahead and change the color just so you can see the difference. So I'm -2, and then I get $3 more of debt. So I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3. And where I end up is my answer. So I'm going to be left with -5. I borrowed $2 from my mom, and then the next day I borrowed $3. So I owe her $5. Whichever way you want to look at it. Again, I like to think of terms of food or money. Another way that I showed last year was using the dance situation, where the boys would be representing the negatives and the girls would be the positive. So here's our problem again, where we have -5 plus 8. So -5 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on the dance floor, and then I'm going to add 8 girls. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we make our couples, so they're a couple, and that's what we call a 0 pair. So -1 plus a +1 would be 0. This is a 0 pair. This is another one. And then what we're left over with is, with nobody to dance for, is 3 girls. So it's +3. And let's look at that problem again. -2 plus -3. That would be, I'm adding 2 guys to the dance floor, and then I'm going to add 3 more guys. So that would be 1, 2, 3, for a total of how many guys? That's right, -5. So again, use whichever way works for you the best, either the number line or the dance floor situation. It's just a matter of trying to understand what is really going on. So Mrs. Anderson found this a few years ago, and this is just a rhyme. It goes to row, row, row your boat. Little visual down here to help you remember. And what it is, I'll try to sing it as best as I can. Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Take the sign of the higher number, then it'll be exact. So let's take a look at a problem. Same sign. I have a -5 plus a -6. So I'm at this first line. Same sign, I'm going to add and keep. A negative and a negative. I just add 5 plus 6 is 11. And then I'm going to keep the sign. So -11. And then here would be another example. Different signs. So I'm right here. Different signs. I have a negative and a positive. So different signs, subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then I take the sign of the higher number, and then it'll be exact. Technically, you could think about which one is the furthest away from 0, and that would be the -8. So it's going to be a -4. If you want to go back to the debt situation, it would be, I'm in debt $8, I get $4 for doing my chores, and then I'm left with a -$4 of debt. So one other way that you can use, Ms. Krasno gave this to us, was the scoreboard way, where we always think of teams. So we have our positive team, then we have our negative team. And this is a really helpful way when you're adding more than one or two numbers, or I guess 2 or 3 more numbers. So the way that this works is you set up your scoreboard. You have your positive side and your negative side. And then you just go through your expression. So the negative team gets 9 points. So I'm going to put a 9 right here. The negative team gets 7 more points. The positive team gets a 6 points because it's a positive. Then the negative team would get 8. And then the positive team would get 4. So the first thing I want to do is add like numbers. So on this side, I'm going to add the negative numbers. So 9 plus 7, 16, and then I need to add the 8. What I do in my mind, if I was going to do this with mental math, is I would break the 8 into 4 and 4. So 16 plus 4 is 20, 20 plus 4 is 24. And then I add my positive. Let me put my little addition sign right there. So 6 plus 4 is 10. So we can automatically see who won the game if we were looking at it in the sports perspective. So we can see that the negative team has more points. So you subtract the smaller number, so 24 minus 10 is 14. And then you keep the sign of the higher number. So you can see that the negative team won, so it would be negative 14. So again, that's just another way that a lot of students like to use if they're adding more than 2 integers together. You could always use it for no matter what, but you need to pick which way works best for you and go from there. So here's some examples that I want you to pause the screen and write down in your journal, and we will go over these in class. I want you to try to solve them, and then we'll see what answers you get when we meet tomorrow. Okay, so the last slide deals with properties, and what that is basically just how numbers work, and it's things that will work for any number. So notice this says the identity property of addition. So identity, thinking about you have your own identity and you want to keep you. So what can I add to myself to keep myself the same? So the way I say this is the sum of a number, so we have a negative 3, and the additive identity. So what can I add to myself to keep myself a negative 3? The only thing I can add is a 0. If it was a negative 5, I would add a 0 to keep myself as a negative 5. And you're probably thinking that a lot of this might just be common sense, and you're right. But you'll see as you go up in math that these properties will come in handy when you least expect it. The other property that we have is the inverse property of addition. So the first thing that I hear of when I see inverse or think of is I think reverse. So what can I do to undo what I've done? So let's look at this example. I give you $5. Where's my cursor hid? There it is. I give you $5. What can I add to undo that? So I'm going to add a negative. Oh, now I'm at 0. So it's like nothing ever happened. If it was a negative 3, what could I add that would act like nothing ever happened? So if I took $3 away from you, I would have to give you back the $3 for something never to happen. So again, whatever way works for you, we have these two properties, and we'll be getting some additional properties as we go along in this chapter. So looking forward to seeing you in class tomorrow, and make sure at the bottom of your page you have written down your questions and your summary, and I'll be checking your notes, and see you in class. Bye.